Are we looking at you or
No, look at the camera. Yeah.
The whole time?
Yeah. You just or no. Sorry, it's whatever works.
You're gonna stare at that people's souls, bro.
No, whatever works. Welcome back to Coach Neal's Corner. Thank you for joining us once again. We're here at Battle Arts at the Don Kolov Arena. I am Coach Neal, and we have two amazing gentlemen in the corner tonight. We have Naseem Alsadi and Amr Ghoneim, two of the baddest, toughest, meanest, and best BJJ players in all of Canada, my humble opinion. Prove me wrong. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us right in the Coach's Corner. Today we're going to be asking them some questions about what makes them so badass, right? And I think I've had the privilege over the last year or so, last few years with Naseem, to see these guys and how they train and see their mindset and everything that they do. And I'm telling you, they have the magic. They have everything they need to become the very best at what they're doing. So gentlemen, just maybe give us a quick background. Like maybe start with you first, Amr. Like, how did you get into this BJJ stuff?
Yeah. So I think, I guess if we're gonna start off like in the very, very beginning, I've been doing like martial arts like my whole life. As a kid, my family put me into Taekwondo, and we did that for about 10 years. And then when I was older, I started to do some boxing and MMA.
Oh, wow.
And then when I was in university, I was doing some MMA and I was trying to fight and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And then at some point I realized like maybe like getting hit in the face is not the best thing in the world. So I stopped doing any striking, and now I stuck to jiu-jitsu, and I started to take that pretty seriously.
That's pretty dope.
Then, yeah.
Same reason why I didn't do MMA, by the way. Like, it's crazy. I don't know. These guys are crazy to take punches to their face and stuff like that. Like, I feel like someone punches me in the face, I might try to look for a chair.
Like police.
Okay, Nas, what got you into BJJ, bro?
I started jiu-jitsu all the way back when I was 10 years old, actually.
Wow.
So where I'm from, Abu Dhabi, it's actually implemented within our school system.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Exactly. So the same way you would have like physical education here, we had jiu-jitsu class.
Wow.
Yeah, and I pretty much stuck with it all the way till I was about 16, 17, and then I left jiu-jitsu for maybe 2 years to do football. And
football as in American football or
soccer?
Soccer, yeah. You're football.
Football. But yeah, I made my way back to jiu-jitsu maybe when I was 18, so after taking 2 years off, and I haven't left since.
That's dope, man. How long have you been doing, like, sorry, don't date yourself, or age yourself, but how long, how many years?
So with those 2 years off, I think it's been about 14, 15 years now.
14, and yourself?
Almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I watch these guys, and I'll tell you, there's a couple things that I would love to pull out of this interview, but I'm gonna just ask questions to get you guys to see if it comes out. But I wanna know why are you guys so good? And to preface that, let me explain something. It is my goal, and I'm sure it's their goal too, but it's more my goal, to get these guys to win like ADCC this year or next year, because they are that good, right? Like, I think Amr is the Pan Am champ, right? And Nas, you were in the top 16 at your first trials.
Yep.
Your first trials, right? So, and I'm gonna tell you, he's just getting warm, he's just getting started. So that's how good these guys are. So what pushes you, and first of all, how hard do you have to train to get to that level? How about we start there?
You want to go first?
Yeah, so I think my approach is a little different than what other people like to talk about. I have more of a data perspective on the way I train, so I don't focus as much on like working out or training on the mat as I do when it comes to analyzing data and then taking trends that I see in matches and different data sets that I have to complement my training.
Well, that's a cool answer, and because that leads to his background. Like, tell him why.
Yeah.
Tell him your background. Tell him how brilliant you are, bro.
Yeah, so I have a background in data analyses. So I'm doing my PhD right now in machine learning and blockchain, and I think through that I've actually learned how to train myself to analyze data and how to actually implement that through practical means.
Really? I'm very interested to hear. I mean, we won't get into it here because you might put us to sleep. I'm very interested to hear how you use that in a combat way, because I mean, as a coach, I think we could probably benefit from that too.
Yeah.
I won't get into it, but Canada Wrestling had a guy who, you know, studies how many times guys get taken down with certain moves and stuff like that. And I know it's been interesting, but I find it personally, like, and maybe you can help me understand, like, I find it a little too, like it's taking away the art in the martial art. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think it just comes down to perspective. Like the way I view jiu-jitsu, it's basically just a combination of patterns that we see in the human body. And if you find the most common patterns and you find the most common techniques, and when you find the most common techniques, you win.
Really? And so just, again, for my selfish reason, like, think about when we do wrestling. Like, are we on the right track with the stuff you're learning in terms of patterns and stuff?
Definitely.
Like, in what way? Like, can you?
Because the way we learn, especially when we do lessons with you, it's more on a basis of understanding that there are techniques which work at the highest level, but what techniques work for your body type and what are the highest percentage techniques that work for your body type is the way you like to approach it. That's very much in line with the way I approach training as well.
And the data matches the actual practice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty freaking cool. There we go. I knew we'd go deep into this stuff. And yourself, like,
just before I talk about myself, one thing he won't mention is that I've noticed about him, why he's gotten so good, even in the last year. He's a fucking obsessive dude.
Right, he's obsessed. Yeah, like, he's obsessive.
I've never seen someone that can sit down and, like, if we're talking about data, like, this guy is a freaking computer. He'll sit down and watch a whole DVD in a day and just be like happy to start a new one, you know? Where I'll watch like 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, this is enough. But yeah, he's obsessive for sure.
And has his approach helped you?
Yeah, for sure. I think to an extent I'm the same way, but like I would say he's on another level to that. But yeah, he's definitely contrasted me in a lot of ways where in the past few years, I've kind of relied a lot more on kind of just rolling and whatnot, and I find him more analytical and like very much about drilling and breaking down certain techniques. So that's helped me kind of come out of my shell in terms of one thing. Okay, so to break that down a little bit more is I kind of rely on what works. Rather than making up, or what do they call it, like reinventing the wheel?
Yeah.
I don't like to reinvent the wheel. Where he's open to new perspectives and whatnot. And
really?
And he's kind of opened my eyes into like, okay, maybe we can actually like find a new position or figure out a new way to approach this position. Where I'm like, let's just look at what the best guys are doing and just do that. And he's like, no, let's break it down. Let's see if we can add another layer.
Well, I find that so interesting because. At first, when you started talking, I would say, yeah, that makes sense, right? That your approach would be different, but I thought your approach would make you a little more open to trying new things. I didn't think the analyst would be open to trying new things. You know what I'm saying? Like, isn't that a bit of a contradiction? But I totally get it because, and when you look at coaching and you look at athleticism and training, you understand that when we study the sport, we like to do what works and what we've been taught. And we get into, and sometimes that leads you down the wrong path because if you're in a system that has been doing things wrong for a long time, then you get stuck in that. And that's the reason, in my opinion, the main reason why some countries are good at a sport always and others just aren't. And the ones that aren't are not, I don't care, not intelligent enough to actually study what works. Like my favorite example was it Greenland or Iceland that went to the World Cup and did well. What was it like not the last World Cup, the World Cup before, where they just came out of nowhere and shocked everybody. They're the ones that did football, like soccer, where they started that. Oh, you remember that whatever that did? What was that? It was anyway. So these guys, they're not known for soccer. Right? And all of a sudden they come and they make like the semis or quarters, like they make it all the way through and shocked so many people. But then you find out that they studied what worked and had like a 12 or 24 year system where they just kept building up a group of footballers until they were able to get to that level. Like they totally went and thought outside the box. And I mean, that's one example. There's another example I heard about a British.
And sorry, just so I know I'm understanding you right. They studied like a system and implemented it, or they
Yes.
created their own system?
No, they studied. Well, I don't know particularly what they did, but whatever they did something different.
Right.
You understand? They didn't do what they were normally doing that would
Right.
keep them in that position in that sport.
For sure.
Right? So to me, it's good to have both perspectives, right? Like, but you have to recognize what is working first before you either go with one side or the other, or mend both. You know what I mean? Like, it's like running any business. You know, when your business is in the red, and you keep doing the same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
Right. Meanwhile, your competitor is making all kinds of money,
Yeah.
but you're gonna sit here and say, no, my way is the way I'm gonna do it. You know.
Yeah.
To me, it makes no sense. It takes away. I think it's a bad perspective. But anyway, I know we've been going down that path, and I thought it was just interesting to hear the two of you on that. So without going further into that, because these are not these 2-hour Joe Rogan interviews, I want to hear what's your background? Like, what brought you into this, and what makes you so good at it, bro? Like, he's an analyst, and I get it that you say you like to focus on the things that work, but can you dive a little deeper into that?
I think it's simple. Like for me, the main thing for sure, like I think for everybody that gets good, is just consistency.
Got it.
Starting off, I almost never trained or missed training. Consistency, and for me, actually, I would say the biggest thing that differentiated me from a lot of people was I was the question machine. Like, I asked a lot of questions.
To this day.
To this day. Almost
I felt that. Yeah.
So I asked a lot of questions, and it was really good for me because I had a coach that I trusted, and that was really good. I had Jeff Johnson, who is,
Shout out to Jeff Jocelyn.
in my opinion, he's a fucking genius.
Yeah.
I'd like, so it's not just that I just shot out at him like random questions, but I would try everything that he taught me, and then I would come up, I would tell him, okay, this is what's happening, this is what's why this move is not working right now, this is what's happening, how do I fix it? And then I just exponentially got better and better and better. And then, maybe this is controversial, but I did a lot of cross training as well when I was even starting at white belt. I found the best guys to train with, and I trained with them, like just the best competitors, and I would get that. And then I would come back to Jeff and be like, hey, these guys are doing this to me, how do I beat them? And then I would go back next week and be doing better and better and better.
And these guys didn't figure that out?
I don't know. Yeah, so for sure, consistency, asking a lot of questions, and application of the solutions that I was giving.
That's brilliant.
You know?
Yeah. So I mean, that to me, that's just common sense, and you do a good job. And there are a lot of coaches that don't like questions, you know. And I don't like those coaches. Like, as you can probably tell from when we work together, like I am all about having my athletes ask the most questions, like any question, for you to understand what you're doing. It's very important, because if you don't understand what you're doing or why you're doing it, then how do you bring the consistency into it? Like, you know, unless you're a robot, right? And I think that's the one advantage we may have over robots in the future, is the fact that, you know, we can maybe adjust. Well, I don't know, these supercomputers are different, but we ask questions and we can figure things out on the fly, right? Like if you are learning something as it applies to you, it'd be different from how it applies to, you know, Nas. Like, so if you don't understand specifically how it works for you, then it'd be hard for you to, you know, use that and apply it when it comes time. And then when you factor in timing and you factor in like positioning and all that stuff, like, it's a great thing to fully understand what you're doing. So I think that's genius, right? But moving from that, like, this is, you guys kind of throwing me off, because these are not the things that I thought I would pull out of you, to be honest.
Fucking steroids.
Right? Yeah. Where's the juice, bro? Come on. No, I'll and I'm not gonna give it away, but I love the fact that, you know, your way of training is what's coming out. Like, how you guys train is pretty cool.
I think it's really important to highlight how much we like complement each other too. Like, if you put it as a one word, or maybe I bring the data analytics to the team, and Amr brings the mindset.
Really? Like, what do you mean by mindset?
That's awesome. So I think the easiest way to put it is, like, some days I feel like maybe I can take a session off, maybe I can like just get away with watching tape, and then I get a message from Amr saying, hey, stop being such a show up to training.
I see that. So that's what I was trying to bring out of you, because I see these guys train all the fucking time. Like it's crazy. Like it's crazy how much you guys, like I'm sitting, so one day I had to ask Amr, I'm like, bro, like what's your motivation for training this much? Do you remember me asking you that?
Yeah.
Like I had to, because I'm like, I don't get it. Because a guy who's, so Amr, you're what, a CPA, right? Like
Not quite.
Not
but
quite?
I work in accounting.
you're working in accounting. So you guys, these are established men. Like they're not, you know, the broke BJJ guys out there trying to survive. Like these guys, they have jobs, they work hard, and they come in and still train all the time, right? And you teach here as well, and you help out sometimes. Like you guys dedicate a significant amount of your time to training. Like, what's your motivation?
Yeah. That's a question, right?
Yeah, that's a question, bro. What's your motivation?
I think, look, I can be like, try to be super deep or whatever.
No, just tell me, drop it.
The truth is, I love jiu-jitsu.
Really?
I just love it.
What do you love about it? Like, why?
It's just fun, man. Like, I don't know, like, it's fun.
Explain
And,
to
like,
me.
I love,
Okay, I'm gonna position it for you. Explain to a guy who thinks you guys, you know, are like Khabib. Like, you know, it's like, it's the soft version, the diet Pepsi of wrestling. Like tell me, why is BJJ so amazing?
that's a good question.
Yeah.
So I've thought about this before, and I guess like the answer would be for me is like, I think it's a rare instance where we kind of have like instant, I don't want to say gratification, but instant results. Like you can test something, like when we learn a new technique, you can test it out right away, and like that satisfaction of like, oh shit, like I learned something new and I applied it right away. For me, that's like a very big, it feels good. It feels really good. So like, I'll tell you, like sometimes when I'm doing the same shit for a year or for a couple weeks or a couple months, I get bored, right? But when I'm learning, when I'm applying the new learnings that I'm doing, I'm like, wow, I'm growing. And you can feel it immediately. Like you can literally feel it every session when you apply a new technique. So for me, that kind of like instant feedback loop is very, very rewarding for me.
For me to understand it, it sounds like you're saying the gratification comes from learning and materializing what you're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Wow, that's heavy. So that's more like what I was thinking. How about yourself? Like, are you the same?
I think I'm a little different. So I love jiu-jitsu, don't get me wrong, but the main thing for me is the problem-solving approach.
So you love problem solving.
Exactly, yeah. So like if I show up to training and I don't have somebody like Amr to beat me up, I don't have many questions or many problems to solve, then I just get bored of jiu-jitsu.
Really?
Yeah, but when I have Amr to train with and he smashes me, I go home and I go, okay, how can I stop him from doing this? How can I do this to him? And I start developing.
So why you been ducking me for?
That's why. I don't want to problem solve right now. I'm tired.
That's amazing. That's so cool. So that's two different perspectives. So I believe, and as a coach, a lot of people don't see this and don't experience this, but I experience it all the time. I feel like it's one thing to learn your sport based on your body type and what you're capable of doing, but more important than that, I feel the most important part of martial arts or any sport is your mindset. Like you express yourself in the art. And you don't just express your physical, but you express who you are mentally and spiritually. So, and I challenge you guys, next time you roll, like think about the moves that you prefer to use and the style that you prefer to use. And I bet you'll notice that it reflects who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Right? Like, am I off, or does that sound like it makes sense?
Yeah, like I move pretty slow in jiu-jitsu, and my brain moves pretty slow too. Just slow.
Why do you move slow?
No.
Okay.
I'm joking.
Oh, you're joking. Okay.
I think I'm like maybe I don't know.
Are you a
I don't know how
thinker?
to
Do you like to
describe
figure things out before you move? Like, are you like? That's what I'm saying. Like, you got to think about.
Yeah,
like, I know for me, like I was never a smasher. Like I see guys come and they wrestling like, yeah, let's smash and something. No, I couldn't do that. It hurts. I like dancing. I like making people look stupid. So I was very slick and fun. I would do I foot swept. Foot sweeping was one of my favorite things. In wrestling, it's not common, but when I learned that about myself, plus then you throw in I like working. Like I'm a dog. Like well, you too probably. So I like to bring guys to deep water and then make them look stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So think about that. Like, does that reflect how you see the sport and how you approach it?
Yeah, to an extent, like I wouldn't say my game is flashy. And I wouldn't
Really?
say and I'm not flashy myself. You
Yeah.
know? I stick to the bread and butter. Like what's
Yeah.
effective, I do. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
not
very
not
cool.
flashy, just straightforward.
Yeah.
Straight to the point. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And yourself?
I think it's the same thing. Like on a day-to-day basis, I don't think I'm fast. I don't think I'm strong. I think I'm more drawn out and more like calculated in my decisions, and I think that shows through my jiu-jitsu as well.
100%, right? Yeah, we got to embrace our uniqueness in how we express ourselves. I think always, especially in sport, and that's the beauty of it. So that's more of the stuff I was thinking to drag out of this, and I'm glad that we touch on that. But there's a more important thing to me that pushes you guys, I think, and I see this in. So I'll give you a quick story. Back in 2002, I met like the Wayne Gretzky of wrestling in Iran. Was a guy named Ali Reza Dabir, and he had this clicker in his hand, and he's just clicking away at this clicker, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? He's like, oh, you know, I say a prayer, and I say, oh, you say a prayer? I say, yeah. He says, but before any big tournament, I promise Allah, I'll say 5,000 prayers, so that I can be victorious in this competition. I said, you say 5,000 prayers, bro? You know? So to me, I watch you guys and I think, like, how does your faith affect your practice in the sport?
That's a good question. It's hard to answer, to be honest.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like our religion has become pretty much like attached to us. So it's almost like whatever we do encompasses our religion.
Okay.
I don't know if you agree with that.
So do you think you're praying when you're rolling? Is that what you're saying?
Not
Like, would
while
you
I'm
describe
rolling,
it?
but after and before, definitely.
Okay. Okay. Yourself?
Yeah, like I guess I agree with that for sure. Like it kind of becomes part of us. Like I think there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. I'm gonna butcher this, but essentially it says like, whatever you do it at your best, and that's definitely something that I know I apply, and from what I've seen, you definitely apply. It's just like whatever I do when I drill, I do it perfectly as much as possible. Whenever I train, I do it to my best abilities. When I teach, I do it to my best abilities. You know, so that definitely translates in that sense.
Wow. And is that like a religious principle in Islam?
For sure, yeah.
Really?
It is, yeah.
Get out of here. Now that's deep. Okay, let's dive into that a little
Don't ask
bit.
my mom if I apply it.
Other word.
Definitely here.
We pick and choose. We pick and choose.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. So that's funny because I know I definitely do that, and it's not from a religious principle, but I just naturally, like if I'm doing anything that I'm focused on and I'm interested in, I'm doing it 100% to my best. You know, gonna be the best dad I can, gonna be the best business person I can be, you know, whatever I focus on. But when did you learn that? Like, is that something you learned as a kid and it stayed with you, or did you rediscover that? Like,
Yeah.
how did it come
For
about?
sure.
How did it
Like,
come about?
When I was younger, like when I washed the dishes, my mom would tell me, "Hey,
Oh,
remember
wow.
what the Prophet
Spotless.
said." alayhi
Spotless.
salam."
Really? So it's like in the culture as
Yeah,
well as in the
for sure,
religion.
For sure,
Wow.
whatever you do, you should do it at your best. For sure.
And okay, so you got 10 Muslim guys running around in your crew. How many of you behave that way?
I would say it's definitely pretty consistent. I would say yeah, for sure, it is definitely very consistent. That as well as like loyalty, trust, honesty. Like there's a lot of values that for sure. Not only does it help us in jiu-jitsu and sport, but like to just build a camaraderie.
Wow.
You know.
Okay, well that's so birds of a feather, right? And I see it. I see the crew here, but I do challenge you to say like, I see what I see here. I don't see everywhere. Even amongst other Muslim guys and people, like I don't see what I see in this gym, and I see what you guys are doing. That to me blows me away when I see it. I see it with the Dagestani guys and Islam and those guys. But I don't see it all the time. So like, I would challenge and ask you like, do you feel
that like if let's say 100 guys that are in Mississauga right now that are Muslim walk in here, would they be able to apply themselves to the sport the way you guys do because of religion, or is it more than just the religion, or is it like, are you guys of a certain group of Muslims that really cherish the philosophy and the culture, or is that just right across the board?
I think it's definitely across the board for most Muslims. I think there's a reason that jiu-jitsu is so widespread, especially wrestling and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It's so widespread in the Middle East and in different Muslim countries.
It's because of that.
I think it ties heavily with the religion as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like personally, before I usually go for matches or anything, I make a prayer, and I feel like that gets my mind right.
Wow.
What'd you say after you won?
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
They cut it out. They cut it out too, eh?
Oh, no way. Wow. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But yeah, no, we won't cut it out. We if we lose it, we lose it, but it is what it is. No, but that's heavy. Like, I think we need to embrace the strength and the beauty and the truth in everything we do, you know, and that's, we're missing that a little bit in our society right now. I know there's a lot of shit going on. And I think it's because the fear is making us forget these things, right? So for example, you're at the ADCC trials and the fear is hitting you, right? Like, and you're just like, oh my God, here we go. Like, where are you gonna draw your strength and your calm, right?
Yeah.
But if there's a fear that's overpowering that, you know, yeah, you know what? I didn't expect to go here, but I don't give a fuck. Let's go. What was the date of ADCC, the trials?
14th?
14th, yeah.
November 14th.
Yeah.
It was November 14th? No, October 14th.
October 14th.
Okay, I was about to say, because you throw off my stuff. So yeah, so so that's what I was thinking. So while you guys were competing, and this was in my mind, at the top of my mind, I'm like, these guys must be worried about what's going on back home right now. Like, geez, like, how are they staying focused? Like, this must suck. And watching your results, like, I was hoping, I'm like, I hope when they come back, they didn't say that affected them, right? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, did it affect you, or did you have your performances? Because I know we were a little disappointed, right?
Yeah.
But was your performance, did it have anything to do with that? Was that added stress?
No, to be honest with you, like, if anything, is for me at least, it was a bigger motivator.
Wow.
One of the biggest things in my head was to win it, so I can, like, almost put it on the map, you know?
That's amazing.
If I had the chance, I would have definitely said something in an interview or something, you know?
Like Kamzat, or was it Chimaev that did that, right? He went hard. That was crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well that's cool. Well, that makes me feel better, because I was a little concerned about it, and I thought, like, I hope that didn't impact these guys in a negative way. So that is very cool.
Yeah, just in general, like, for me, I know, like, Islamically, like, I want to be a good representative in the sport, you know, like, in jiu-jitsu at least, like, it's not very much represented with Arabs or Muslims in general.
Yeah.
And that is definitely a motivator to, like, I want to be a representative, a positive representative in some sorts.
That's
I'm
cool.
a shithead in a lot of ways, you know, but
I don't know what you're talking about. That's ridiculous for you to say that. Yeah, no. Really?
But it is definitely a motivation for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I only know you to be an amazing dude, so it's all good, bro. It's funny that we got onto this topic, because I wasn't going here. One of the principles was that I truly believe the best athletes, most of the best athletes in the world, have a strong spiritual attachment in some way, form, and it's because of their ability to have faith in a higher power, right? That disciplines them to have faith in themselves and in their journey. So I feel like there's a strong connection there with success. But I didn't expect to go down this path this way. But it reminds me of a thought that just came to me the other day, where it's like, a lot of people shit on religion these days, right? And this is not a religious podcast. By no means is it, it's about success. But
when are you gonna do your shahada?
Listen, I'm under a little bit of pressure here, all the time with we know who right at the front. Like, but yeah, no. I feel like without religion, people forget, like, without religion, I feel like we would still be eating each other, as humans, right? Unless there was some kind of thing that brought order to society, and we see like in those movies. What's that book where the boys are stranded on the island? Lord of the Flies, right? Are you guys familiar with Lord of the Flies?
A little bit.
Right, it's a story about a bunch of guys, young kids that get stranded on an island, and they come from like this high, respectable background, or and they turn barbarians, right? And I feel like that's unfortunately the nature of the human psyche. Without order and discipline and a lot of good morals, we would trend that way. But with religion, we have built ourselves into the society that we are today. So I think it's something to remember. But that being said, I think even one step further, when you even Western culture with Christianity, like you see and I'm not trying to go right or left, it doesn't matter, but the morals that some of these guys, like, you guys know wrestling, Penn State, Cael Sanderson, like one of the best programs in the history of American wrestling. Like, these guys are staunchly religious, just as much as the Dagestani, Muslim guys. Like, it's crazy to me that we don't see the consistency there and promote that more. Right?
Sure.
Am I crazy to think that, or what are your thoughts on that? That's a little long-winded. Sorry.
Yeah, like in terms of like, does religion or having like believing in a higher power kind of help you out in sport? Yeah, I definitely say so. I used to listen to when I was younger. I used to listen to a lot of motivational speakers.
Me too. Yeah.
One big thing that they always said is like, what's your why?
Yeah.
Your why has to be bigger than yourself.
Wow.
And of course, religion and how believing in a higher power, like, there's nothing greater than a why that's like God or the Creator, So, yeah, for sure. I definitely I can see why there's a correlation there.
100%. It reminds me, as you're saying that, it reminds me of Muhammad Ali Rumble in the Jungle. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
When they ask him, George is so big. How are you gonna beat George? He says, he's not. I forget how he said. I'm butchering it right now, but it's like basically he's not greater than God. And I bring God. Like, and I was like, anyway, that's some heavy stuff. Yeah. That's awesome, man. So what's next for you guys?
ADCC Trials.
When is ADCC Trials?
In February.
February,
Vegas in February.
Yeah. So
Vegas. So can I come to Vegas too? Can I come hang?
Yeah. Of course.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think both of us are aiming for trials.
Yeah.
I think, God willing, I think inshallah, we have a good chance of winning it. And that's the plan. If not me, him at least, for sure.
You're both gonna win. Yeah. We're gonna make it happen, inshallah. Yeah, there we go. We're gonna make it happen. All right, well, that's cool. What do you have to do?
With your help, with your wrestling. If I get a little bit of wrestling,
let's go, brother. Let's go. Yeah.
Dangerous.
So what do you need to do if you were reverse engineering your success at that tournament? What would you do leading up to it?
I think for me especially, focus on points was a big missing factor in my prep for ADCC. So in the match I lost, I ended up losing by points. And I think it was just neglecting, then like focusing on learning the ADCC rules and how to apply them in a match.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I would change.
Interesting. Yeah, I think kind of similar to him. Like, it wasn't necessarily like not knowing the rules or neglecting the points, but it's a new rule set for me. I'm used to the IBJJF rule set, and I feel like I kind of have like a form or some sort of a pretty good mastery of it. Like, I know how to game it a little bit, So just figuring out how to score properly in ADCC is a big one, because you have to literally pin people to the mat to get a pass or a takedown, and if not, you have to be really good at back takes. So the big things that definitely working on is back taking and pinning. You gotta pin.
Pin as in like pinning their backs to the mat like a wrestling pin?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, dope.
Like you have to get 75% of their back pinned to the mat to get a pass.
Really?
Yeah. If I'm turned like this, it's not a pass.
Really?
Just a little bit, yeah, nothing.
Oh, that's genius.
Crazy,
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm liking it because it's a lot like wrestling, so that works there. Okay. Yeah, we can
And
definitely
of
do
course-
some
and
work
of course,
there.
Wrestling, like
Yeah.
even though like I didn't have like a bad time wrestling, but I want to be more confident. Where I'm like, okay, if I'm wrestling with this guy, he's screwed. You know.
Yeah.
That's kind of the goal.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I look forward to it because I see how you guys train. I feel like I think you guys underestimate just how significant of a hurdle like jumping into a new system is, and not having the experience in that system.
Yeah.
Like doing it one time. Like I mean,
Yeah.
it's you know, some people can do it, but it's a very, especially now that the sport is getting popular and guys are getting better. Like I feel like you guys may cut yourself some slack, and I think you'll do way better at the second time around.
Yeah.
So that's cool, man.
There's 2 more chances.
There's
two more chances.
European.
Where are the ones in Europe?
It's gonna be Poland, I think.
so, yeah.
Oh, cool. Where in
Yeah.
Poland? Warsaw?
I think so.
I think so.
And in Africa? Where in Africa?
Well, it's the same one. So they mix Europe
And
Middle East,
Africa. Oh.
and Africa. Yeah.
And where do the strongest ADCC guys come from? The West or the East?
Definitely North America.
North America?
North America is West Coast is probably, I think historically has been the hardest one to win.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it'll be
Okay,
good.
cool, man. Awesome, guys. Well, yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate everything you do. I think the theme here is that these guys are great role models. Like I hope you guys realize how awesome you are for the younger generation, and I think as having you guys here at Battle Arts, like we're building up a pretty cool culture with our BJJ and soon to be MMA. And yeah, I look forward to you guys wrestling a little more. You know, come to some wrestling classes. I think that'd be dope. And I see nothing but success for you guys down the road as long as you keep doing what you're doing. You know.
Thank you.
for coming,
I
bro.
appreciate you, man.
My pleasure. Thank you, man.
The last question: who's the better wrestler between them?
We can do it right now, brother. We can do it right now, brother.
You know what? I haven't seen you guys wrestle, so it's hard to say. Bro. I see each other. I haven't seen you guys wrestle each other. I think you do technique.
He wouldn't even call it wrestling.
No, listen. You guys have done technique in front of me. I've never seen you guys go live. Like, let's be real. Have I? No.
No.
I can tell you, the thing that I really appreciate about you guys, though, is like the way you guys move. It's so different. Like, it's so different from, like, especially the fact that you guys spend so much time together. You'd think you would move more similar, you know, but
different from each other, eh?
yeah, different from each other. Yeah, like you're a bear. Like that's just the way you move. You can tell, like he's gonna grab something and he's just gonna stabilize it, and good luck getting away from it. And he's gonna make sure, you know. And then you're coming in, like I feel like you're gonna throw me on my head every time you grab a hold of me, right? Like so, I
describe him like more like a rabbit. Like,
Sloth, bro.
No, I wouldn't say that. No, I'm trying to think of an animal though. Like, what animal throws you on your head?
Gorilla.
Gorilla, yeah, gorilla. That's so dope. Anyway, yeah, man. Thank you for having these guys. Thank you for being with us and watching these guys and entertaining what we're saying. Listen, these guys are gonna be stellar. Look out for them on the ADCC circuit. Look out for them all across, you know, Canada and the world. I think they're destined for greatness. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Thanks, guys. That was great. I so didn't expect to go so deep down the religious. I hope we don't get in trouble for that. You think we're gonna get cut? I mean, yeah. They're definitely gonna cut us for that, for sure. We're no way we last longer than like 2 days. What do you guys think?
what do you guys think about Hamas?